So good morning, everyone. As people ask me to reflect on 25 years of supervising PhDs in 10 minutes is quite a challenging task, because 10 minutes isn't that long, but I will do my best. I made some notes, but I'm getting old, so I hardly can read them, so I hope I don't skip over anything. What I want to tell you first is the perspective. So how I supervise PhD is not very interesting for you. It should be about, and I address the rising stars in this room, and maybe some other PhDs as well. It should be about you, because of course academics are very much in love with it, and people likes quotes from songs, and he likes punk music, so I will quote the Sex Pistols. I'm in love with myself, my beautiful self. That's how academics see themselves often. They really like themselves, like their work, etc. And that's a good thing. You should be confident, but it's also important to be able to put it into perspective, to make fun of yourself and things like that. So don't be too overconfident. One thing I want to tell in this context, when the first time I met one of the big names in Dutch technology law, Hans Franke, we had a discussion about hiring people. And I was saying, yeah, there's sometimes people don't want to hire people that are better than themselves. And he said, that's such nonsense. And he was a great mind, a good person. You can learn from others. You shouldn't envy people are better. You should get better yourself by discussing with them, by talking with them. So that's what you should do in your PhD as well. Just you can admire people, you can learn from them. And you don't have, of course, you should be very confident about yourself. That's important as well. What's also important is I had this colleague, and if you asked how was the lecture, he said, amazing, they were all super enthusiastic, always. That's not possible, nobody's perfect. So also be able to say, I wasn't totally satisfied. Be able to criticize yourself. It helps you growing bigger and growing stronger. Then another perspective, it's trivial what I'm going to say, but I make these videos on YouTube about how to write a piece with lots of trivial advices, but also often you see people don't take into account when they write something. One part I want to specifically mention is the layout. If you have a layout of an article or a chapter or whatever, you should have like 5 sections on the main level, and then like on each section like 3 to 5 subsections that should be like that, and then each part should be sort of equally number of words, so not like section 1 page, section 2, 20 pages. That's very important. Then what's even more important is the outline should tell a story. So if you read the outline, it should tell what you want to tell your audience. It should make it clear. And if it doesn't, then it isn't a good outline. I published, I think it's still on the internet, so I have to change it. I had a draft of a chapter, and then one section said GDPR, privacy impact assessment, privacy by design, and it wasn't about that. It was about cybersecurity, and we wanted to use that as an inspiration to make norms for software on cybersecurity. So it didn't tell the story I want to tell. So in the published version of the chapter, it has been changed, but I think it's still on the internet. So it reminds me that I have some work to do in that respect today. Then a last part that has to do with focus. I also have one of the videos about it. Your research question, I was a super arrogant PhD myself, because I didn't want to have a research question. Why not? Because I was reading books from very eminent scholars, and they never ever had a research question. They never ever were asking a question in the last chapter, so I didn't want to do it. So I put just a sort of observation, which is also, I think, awkward. That it's super trivial what I'm saying there. By convincing arguments, an ostensibly lost case can be won. Even Protagoras was basically saying it, because he said, each case has 2 sides. Tell me your side and I'll win the case for you. So why do you refer to Lodder? So I didn't have a research question, but after the years I realized how important it is to have a good research question, because it gives you focus. And I will come back to that, not in the next slide, but the slide after this one. This is just to make a disclaimer that I don't know much about competition, but I really am interested in this 30% thing that has to do with competition law. There are a lot of people on the internet that ask 30% for their services. It seems to be sort of a magic number. That's something that intrigues me and that this blog post is about. Then the focus. So when I started my PhD, I think you know how old I am, more or less. In '92, I witnessed the first PhD defense of Jaap van der Herik, Hugo Veldhuizen, in '92. And 25 years later, so he had another 25 years, he had his 75th PhD defense. And it was my 5th because we did it together. And when he always told PhD students, so he, by now he probably successfully supervised like 9 or so, he said, and that has to do with the research question, if you write a PhD thesis, and he was doing what I'm doing now, you have to go that way, you have to go that way, not that way, not that way, no, you have to go that way. And that you have to keep in your mind when you're writing. There's so many interesting things in all kinds of areas, but you have to keep your focus. You have to realize all the time what you're writing about and leave aside the things that are not necessarily relevant to get there. So keep in mind, don't do this, do that. Thank you, Jaap. Then, write. Don't wait too long with writing. Because often you think, I don't really know how it is, etc. But then you start writing and you realize you don't. But don't wait too long with writing. Then another tip I have about writing, don't shout. Don't make it too obvious. I sometimes was angry and didn't like things and I was stupid. The problem is that people start to focus on how you say it and they don't like the way you say it. If you put it in a more neutral way, you can convince people based on the arguments and not on the tone. So I think that's a very important thing, to bring it convincingly based on the arguments and not shout too much or do it in a way that it can distract people from what you really want to say. Then, you will be read. So when I defended my PhD thesis, we had a workshop the day before. It was a guy from Leiden, and he was saying, "I read your thesis in the car." I was thinking, "Really? People read my thesis?" And then, like 20 years later, people were using my thesis in work, and they also, they read my thesis. That's very nice. But I can assure you, everybody will be read. Don't think that you write for yourself. There will be students or practitioners or other scholars. You will always be read. Don't never think that you won't be read. Your work will be read for sure. And another thing that is very important, I wrote this to my team last year, cherish accomplishments. So if you finish a course, or if you publish an article, or you finish a chapter, take a moment to celebrate this kind of accomplishment. Because if you don't do it, they're gone. You have to pick the moment and really take some time to think, it was nice that I wrote this, that I did this. Speak, lecture, talk with colleagues about your research. It makes your thoughts sharper, things, and even with, it can be with random people. I was talking to a publisher like 2 months ago or 1 month ago, and when I was talking, I realized something in my thinking that was wrong. I was thinking, no, that's not true. So by talking, you can become aware of things. And this is an example of Bitcoin, that in 2014 I started giving some lectures on Bitcoin because I didn't understand anything about Bitcoin. And so if I talk about it, if I present about it, then maybe I can understand. I still don't. Yeah, to some extent, but not really. So, and that's expressed here: to learn, read; to know, write; to master, teach. And that's very true, because if you really try to make clear to an audience in verbally presenting like this, then you need to have even more skills than by writing it down or by reading things. Something about feedback. Don't defend yourself. I once had this colleague, and it was an introduction, and I had like 5 or 10 remarks, and at each remarks she was saying, ah, yeah, but I meant this or that. It doesn't matter what you mean. If you get feedback, then probably people don't understand it. Use that, take that into account. And don't try to defend yourself. They say something, yeah, but no. Try to internalize it, try to do something good with it. That's very important. I once had a research proposal. I was discussing with a computer science professor. At the beginning she asked, is it okay if I am critical? And I didn't understand the question. But apparently there are people that don't like it if you get critical comments. But you should like it, because only then you can go better. If you can internalize and process critique that you get, your work gets stronger, for sure. So please take feedback seriously and do not defend, but learn from it. Then, this is another song. This is Rocky. Your best is good enough. So, particularly at the end of your PhD, there are people that keep on writing. Stop at a particular moment. And Timo is a nice example. I recently gave him some feedback and he said, yeah, I worked like 3 days on it. And he could have worked another week, but I thought it was good enough after 3 days. And that's a very good thing. Because of course you can work another week, or another 2 weeks, or another month. And it becomes only slightly better. So know when to stop. There's a moment that it's good enough. And you have to finish. So don't keep on working. Same as cum laude. There are people that want to work for cum laude. I also switch out to cum laude. And there was this committee member that was saying, he wrote a very nice thesis. His model is better than improving existing models, including my own. So then my colleagues were saying, this is cum laude, but it wasn't. So I didn't get cum laude. It doesn't matter. It's very political cum laude. I've been in many coronas, and I've been at least at 3 PhDs where the committee was super enthusiastic. The person didn't get cum laude. And I've been at least at 3 committees where the committee was or some people were, and they got cum laude. So it's, of course, there are people that have excellent theses, but cum laude in itself doesn't matter that much. Don't pay too much attention to that. Yes, can't read. I think it's fine. Contact people. So my colleague Bart Verheij, who's now a computer science professor in Groningen, we shared a room in Maastricht where we did our PhD. He wrote something about accrual of arguments, and John Pollock was a very big name in this area, wrote in the journal Artificial Intelligence. And he had this line, a very nice line, that Pollock writes about accrual of arguments, but then surprisingly denies its existence. So beautiful way to put something, and also content-wise very interesting. So I told him, ask him for your committee. Ask John Pollock for his committee. And he did ask, and he came. John Pollock came. So don't be afraid to ask people to do things for you. Same with like institutions. If you're interested to have Stanford or Harvard or Oxford on your CV, just ask them. Can I come? And they will for sure say, yes, you can come, and you can put in your CV. Same as, and don't overestimate the importance of it. So again, put it in perspective. So there are these American scholars that present their books in like 15 European universities, and you think, oh my God, 15 universities. They for sure invited themselves at all universities. I have this book to present, and it's good, it's interesting. But that's again putting things in perspective. Yes, and I can't read it. Oh, but I'm done. It's in 10 minutes. What about that, Timo?
Perfectly on time.
Oh yeah, I have a very sad and also nice announcement. I have to leave immediately because it's not only the birthday of one of the heroes of my youth, Fish, the singer of Marillion, former singer of Marillion, or a present-day hero of me, Mark Gerber, the darts player, but also my sons and the late Johan Cruijff team. My sons, and he said that he wanted to have coffee with me at 11, and I have to buy cake, so unfortunately to see. So I hope it was worthwhile, and I wish you all the best in rising as a star, and the rest as well, the people in the audience.
Thank you so much.